For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio back on the air, unusual time. And I'm going to explain all of it. I am fresh back, just slid into the seat from Palm Beach County and the big commissioner's hearing on the Save PBIR project. And it was just an amazing day of local government, seeing how it all works out. Initially, Clay Millican and Tim Wilkerson were slotted to join us at like 1 o'clock. I wasn't going to go to the commission meeting. There's a story behind it. I'll tell everybody. And then Clay and Tim were so gracious to push it back till 4 o'clock, and figured there's no way this thing started at 9:30 in the morning. There's a story behind it. But the good news is that we're popping on live out of nowhere. Hopefully all of the fans of the show and anybody watching, fans of Clay, fans of Wilk, will amplify this on your social, share it out there, do all the different things that you always do to help defeat the algorithm. And we're doing it now because this is the only opportunity to do it. This is our only time because this weekend is the Indy 500 and Clay's going because Rick Ware is in the race with his teams. And so we're going to get all that. I do want to tell you about all the Save PBIR stuff, but I want to get to Clay very rapidly. So let me tick through my great sponsors, the people who make it possible. Like I'll catch everybody up on them. You know, I love FTI and Total Seal, obviously, the leader in ring seal technologies. The folks at Foggit, of course, to protect the inside of your engine, Bernie Speed Shop and Phillips Connect, all making it possible for me to do this show like this. And so the next time you need any one of them, think about them. Plus Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Marvin Rodak, and the folks at samtech.edu. They do such a great job training the future of mechanics and crew chiefs and CNC programmers. It is all great stuff. But let's bring on my man Clay, because this is what everybody wants to hear, and I want to hear, and he's going to the Indy 500, baby. What's up, Clay? How are you?
Man, life is good. If I complained, it would be goofy because, man, I'm still rolling, feeling great. Actually have my voice back. I lost it on Sunday night somehow. I don't know why that happened. But
I wonder why.
Yeah. I can't scream like I once did as a kid and make my mama mad. I pay for it the next day. But man, what a weekend we had. And yes, for the first time in my 57 years, I am headed to the Indy 500. I've never done it.
Wow, that's neat. That's unusual. I didn't figure, not that everybody goes. You're a drag racer. I hadn't been until 2007 or something with XM. Yeah. You're going to love it, man. I'm
looking forward to it. I mean, you know, Rick has got a car that's qualified. Stingray Rob is in the field, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've done tons of NASCAR races. I've been to the 500. I've been to the 600. I've been to Nashville. I've been to Bristol. I could just go on and on and on. I mean, my oldest kid's named Kel, for goodness sakes, you know, after Kel Yarbrough. But I definitely, Joe, I don't know, you might not be really old enough, but it was such a big deal when I was a kid. Like the Indy 500 before the split, you know, it was massive. And I'm not saying it's not now. It's kind of taken back off. But as a kid, it was an event around our house, you know. Yes. It was so big. And then after the split, it kind of seemed to drop off a little bit. But I think now it's kind of grown back. And obviously Roger Penske being the man now of all of it, it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, I experienced for the first time ever the starting grid, the pre-race at the 24 Hours of Daytona. And everybody has told me that the Indy 500 pre-race is incredible. So I'm very much looking forward to that for sure.
Okay, so I can give you some advice here just because it is religion. Okay. Like that's the thing about Indy. You've got to go there, Clay, with your, what can we bring back to NHRA drag racing? Because it is religion. There's a religious like zeal about that day. And when you walk out prior to the race on Sunday morning, you're going to get this feeling, like I'm getting it right now, of like your hair's going to stand up. You're going to see all those people. You're going to hear the bagpipers going around, and you're going to realize like the eyes of the world are on this place, not just a city or a country or a group of people within a country, the entire planet. And it is the biggest single race still on the planet, which you will experience, and you're going to love it. You're going to have a great time. You know, maybe any one thing is as attention commanding as it once was in the past, because there's more things to pay attention to.
Right.
And so, but the people who love the Indy 500, they love it. It's a religious like zeal, and you're going to love it too. And you're going to come back with a bunch of ideas for drag racing. I have no doubt. And you're going to get the most recent race winner in the NHRA.
Yes. I mean, I'm wondering, I'm wondering how tired my arms will be from walking around holding the Wally all day, but nobody else will have one from Route 66 Raceway.
That's right. That's right. You're going to be like the guys in Wayne's World, with their card, like, hey,
exactly.
This Wally. You're
exactly. But I don't want to keep just on and on, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. I not only always listen to you, Joe, WFO Radio, but I also listen to the Dale Jr. podcast. And he said that I think last year was his first trip ever, and that it was the most intense, uplifting pre-race that he's ever been a part of, the Indy 500. And I think it's still the largest motorsport single day there is, I think.
I think anything. Huge. It's not just motorsport. I think it's anything. There's going to be at least 300,000 people there, and maybe 380, 400. Like, you're going to be in a mass of humanity, by the way, head on a swivel all the time, right? Because you just never know. But the whole everything is amazing, and you're going to love it. There's nothing to not love, even if you don't love IndyCar. As there's a lot of people that just go to that thing just because of what it is. They don't even really care about the race. They go into the snake pit, they're listening to EDM, and they're jamming out. You are going to love it. But maybe we'll have you back next week, or I'll just watch your YouTube channel and get your take. All right, so everybody knows that we had the show planned, and I wasn't able to make it back because they decided to break for lunch at 12 noon, and the whole thing to save PBIR got pushed back. I'm going to give everybody the quick Cliff Notes, and then we're going to get into your win. The Cliff Notes is this. The vote was 7-0 against. And so the track is Dunsky. It is over. But we read a letter from NHRA's president, Glenn Cromwell, into the record, and all the racing family showed up. And I will tell you this, that one of the commissioners at the very end, and I have the audio, said, given the response that the racers have put up over the past year to fight this, there is a 128-acre parcel in Palm Beach that had been slotted for an ATV park, and that they're going to expedite looking into, instead of the ATV park, using it as a racetrack in a quote-unquote potential public-private partnership, which that would be awesome if that was somehow the case. Southern is actually where the road is, where they're talking about this. It's actually south of where the track was. And so it would be a better situation. And so I'm going to go back to NHRA. I was acting as an envoy today. They asked me to go and represent them. I'm going to go back to NHRA with that. And you know what they did with Route 66, Clay. They had to put in a lot of legwork to get that track open. Yeah. So you never know if it was worth it. Participating in the democracy, it was worth it, but we lost.
And me and you talked a little bit. I mean, we kind of have the same situation happening right down the street here with the same group that owns West Palm. The track in Memphis closed up, boarded up, and nobody knows what's going to happen with it. And I've said this recently, the way that John Vandermeer handled what's happening at Denver is amazing because it eliminates any guessing, rumors, wondering. The man who owns the place just come out and flat out told you this is what we're doing. And I appreciate that.
I do too. Too. Like the closure or not knowing, or like if you've never been to Vandermeer, this is the year to go. All right. So Wilk is going to be calling in. I wanted to connect with you guys, even if it's just for a short time. I got this great interview with Jimmo. You and Keelan standing together. Like, to me, that's the moment, man. That's my favorite moment of the whole win, Clay. You and Keelan. I've known Keelan a long time, who works in Hot Rod Randy's horsepower headquarters, is a great guy, super nice person. But I didn't know your relationship, and he's bawling, man. He was in tears of joy, and you were too. I'll play all that stuff later, but just talk about this win, Clay. Like Jimmo, he said flat out, I didn't know if I could ever win again. Like maybe I would never be back. Did you have that feeling too?
I've never doubted Jimmo. And I said this, when we were up on the stage on the racetrack, I cannot wait for the race day YouTube video to come out, which will be tomorrow morning, 10:25 a.m. Central Time. Poor Jimmo had been getting blasted so bad in the comments, those keyboard warriors just, wearing Jimmo out. And I'm thankful he doesn't go and watch the YouTube videos, or at least don't read the comments. But that was one of the things I'm like, do you people not realize that this guy has won championships and over 50 NHRA races and all these things? And I never doubted him. I mean, the guy's a winner. He's such a great guy to work with, and he's a joy to be around. And the people who work on our race car, I call them kids, and I get in trouble. They're like, we're not kids. They are kids, but they have never been like down in the dumps. I've never been around a group that has worked so hard to not win around all year. And after we won first round, I'm like, okay, their feet has been put to the fire because they have not had to service this car in a between round situation before. And they didn't do it just once. They got to do it 4 times. I mean, we went from not winning a round to winning the race. It was a magical day. And, the whole Route 66, Route 66, however you want to say it, same as Illinois, has been special for me. First race there, won on my 20th anniversary of quitting my job, and then to win again on the 25th. It was an amazing freaking day. I mean, and the road was like dangerous. You got Sean Langdon first round. You get Doug Coletta second round. You get Brittany Force third round. And then you got a guy that can't seemingly lose, and that's Josh Hart, So the team earned it. I didn't do anything other than I didn't make a mistake that cost us anything. The team and Jimmo absolute earned it, because if you look at it, we had the dominant car. It was not a day where, we lucked our way into it. Hold
on. 66, 52, 57, 49. You had something to do with it, Clay. Like, those are the reaction times, and that's a tight group, and which is what you really want. And if 66 is your worst light, I'm sure you poked it in for the final a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you were a very big part of that win, especially when the final round is coming down to a couple of thou.
Well, I mean, I've lost plenty of them the other way, and thankfully this same group of kids has had my back when I'm the one that let them down. That's been the fun part, because we had 4 of them that have been racing with me for a little while now, a couple years, whatever. They've never won a race. And then collectively as a group, we've got some super experienced people that have won before. But this entire whole thing that Rick Ware's put together, it meshed. It all came together the way you would love for it to, like storybook perfect. You can't win, and people are questioning my crew chief, and not internally, externally.
Sure.
There's never been a question internally. I don't want anybody to think that, but that group, just new trailers, new race car, new parts, new pieces, all these things, and a move, not only moving, a race shop, which is a huge job, but they had to move their lives. We were based in Southern Illinois and in Doug Stringer's backyard. They all moved to Mooresville. So there's a lot going on. And then to come out and struggle the way we did, and on that 25th year at that racetrack where I made my debut, boom, there it is. Win.
Yeah. Well, and there's that number again, right?
Yep.
Amazing story. But I asked Jimmo a couple of times during the day. I was working on NHRA on Fox, and so there's a desperation that comes about me. Tim Wilkerson, who is signing on right now, we'll get to Tim in a few minutes. Help me interview Tim, Clay. But like butting in for news and like tips and it's just like things to share with the audience. And I talked to Jimmo, and he's like, "Man, it's just about racing the racetrack right now.
Yep.
It's just about racing the racetrack. Like, what can it hold? What can I get down? What can I do racing the racetrack?" And that's what you guys did all day, and it worked. But he was telling me, and I think Tim's got a similar problem, but it's not a problem. It's you guys are used to running, like all these guys, Tim definitely, Jimmo definitely, like Doug Stringer did such a great thing by creating this team at all. But the life cycle of parts was totally different. Like things were flexible and you're trying to make stuff last, and even like clutch setups and everything was like worn shoes, like your worn sneakers as opposed to new sneakers are different. And so I know Tim, because he's told me, and Jimmo told me after the race was over, it's just different. Like we don't have notes for a bunch of brand new stuff.
Yeah. I love Doug Stringer, and he gave us everything he could possibly give us, and he kept us going. And when all these new parts showed up, we ordered and got the exact same stuff that we've been running with, but it's you put that perfectly. You can buy the exact same pair of shoes, but when you put them on versus your old ones, they just aren't the same. And same manufacturer, same everything, but it just has taken a little while to get, a grasp on what they want. And we went through Gainesville testing like gangbusters. We were laying crazy numbers down and all that. And all it did was trick us. That's the funny thing. We left there thinking we're fixing to go be world beaters because no matter what we did, it worked. But I think the bottom line to all that was the old track prep during testing may have been excellent and could take whatever you threw at it. And then when we showed up at first race, not so much.
All right, let's bring Wilk in if you're cool with that, because he's
Absolutely.
out there. Well, you guys are buds, right? Like
100%.
friends with Tim Wilkerson. All right, we see you, Wilk. You're on the air. How are you? Can we hear you?
Yep. Got me?
I got you, mostly.
Okay.
What's up, Tim?
Yep.
Clay, Tim. Do you agree with that, Tim? Like what we were just talking about, a pair of shoes, right? You buy the same shoes, but they're not the same.
Well, that's the problem with all of these parts, especially the clutch parts, right? They look the same, they smell the same, and they're boys and girls. They don't act the same, so it's hard.
What do you guys think about the just going back there? Like, Tim, that's where you got your first win, like history, personal history. Clay, you've got some personal history there, your first race, like this emotional thing. And there was emotion throughout the whole weekend. Like, wow, we get to be back here. Is it only one time? Maybe it is. We don't know. And everybody showed up. Like, there were so many people there. But Tim, talk a little bit about going back to this place, like being able to race there with all those Skag people there at all. Like, just being able to set foot on the property was a big deal.
Well, it was, yeah. We were lucky enough to be in Skag Power Equipment's backyard and Levi Ranch Shop's backyard. So everything's in Summit's backyard. They got their backyard everywhere. But
they got a big backyard.
Yeah, the whole United States for those folks. But no, we were lucky to get done what we did with those folks in the property. But I'm like you. The first thing I said up in the media center and when they interviewed me was, I don't care who you are, but if you're on social media, and I don't even know who owns this racetrack, I said that too, but we need to come back here. I mean, this is ridiculous that a facility this nice sits dormant. It's just dumb. But I mean, I understand economics, and I'm not that naive to understand why things work and they don't work. But that sure seemed like an easy deal for one weekend to make it good. A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. And Clay, was that your experience as well? I know the ropes were deep, and I was taking shortcuts around the crowd, like don't go that way, you'll never get through. So, what was your experience?
I mean, my first thing was obviously just like Tim. The place is special to both of us. And I was very concerned when I showed up there is how bad's the place going to look. I had been told there's only 2 full-time employees for that gigantic facility.
Yep.
And I'm assuming the place is owned by NASCAR, ISC. And I guess, NHRA made a deal with them to rent it. And I got to be honest, when I was told all that, I was really nervous. Like, what are we going to get into? But hats off to everybody. The place looked great for having set still. I mean, we've all drove by houses that are suddenly left empty and they just fall in for whatever reason. But I was very impressed with everything. And I don't know the rental agreement, don't really care. All I know was the grandstands that they intended on selling sold out, and they opened up the far side, and there's some big grandstands at that place. So I can't see any reason why we would not go back there again, because they had to make money. It was an amazing event.
They had to make money. I feel like someone, I forget who it was like, the bean counters probably figured out that they could make money with half of the thing open, which is why they only opened half of the thing. Yep. And then when you open up all that additional stuff, because the demand was through the roof, that's all icing on the cake. Let's hope. You never know, though, because we don't own the facility. But if they do get to make an announcement, they'll make it soon, because that was tremendous. So, Tim, Blake Alexander, Alex Laughlin, John Force, Ron Capps. We were just talking about Clay. You didn't have an easy day either. You had a pretty tough day. You had to go through, 19 championships worth in those final 2 rounds.
Well, we were lucky to race who we raced. Quite frankly, I made the determination early I wasn't going to be the guy that made the mistake. You were going to have to beat me if you were going to win that weekend, because I was going to go down the track. And we can go down the track as fast as anybody, most runs anyway. And I talked to Guido afterwards, and he said, "Boy, you made a pretty damn good run in that right lane." He said, "But I knew you would, so I was ready." I said, "Okay, well." But, because Caps and I always have some really cool races. We got a good rivalry going there. And, because I'm a Napa Auto Care dealer, and our building's all painted up blue and gray. And it's pretty exciting when we race him. When I won Indy a couple years ago, beating him, the CEO of Napa actually called and said, I look at that, and of course I want Ron to win, but I said, that's 2 great Napa guys. I don't care who wins. So I thought that was a pretty nice thing for him to say in reality. But we were pretty excited about going down the racetrack every run and making things cool. When we get done here, I got some really cool numbers for you too. I'll share. I heard Clay sharing some numbers with you too.
Oh, really?
So I got to tell a quick story. So I'm in the car, final round, and I'm definitely pulling for Timmy. Sorry, Ron, I'm just telling the truth. I'm pulling for Tim. He's done a lot for me and my team over the past few years. A lot.
Probably 80% of the crowd there. Sorry, Ron.
But I have lane choice, and I'm in that left lane, and I've got a little bit of extra confidence, like we're going to be good here, because everybody's struggling in that right lane. And I'm watching, and Tim goes ripping down through there. I see his wind light come on, and I'm like, uh-oh, Josh Hart might go down that lane and give us a race, because Tim showed everybody that you could, and you did, and you made a good run down that lane. And I hollered at Richard Hartman. I'm like, dude, you kind of busted my confidence bubble. And he's like, sorry about that, but we both got the trophy. But that was impressive what y'all did in that right lane. It was pretty stout.
Yeah, I don't know if those lanes were as bad as they made them out, but
right.
That is just what you talked about. You when you run all your junk and you get it all in a pile and you go somewhere and you go, man, look how fast we are. Oh, we're going to be world beaters here. And them conditions were just, they were an anomaly. You know, as soon as we got to the Gainesville race, you seen what we had. We had, you know, crap compared to that. So
Yeah.
It was started out that way during the whole year. We talked about that. The Joliet racetrack to me was almost like Phoenix. We got there. Remember how the track check's so good, and everybody had their chest pumped out, and we was like, burp, smoke the tire, burp, smoke the tire, burp. Right? Well, none of us must be smart enough to do this. But as the weekend goes along, and I talked to Richard about that before the finals there, and I said, you know, this place isn't going to be what it was in the second or third round. It kind of, to me, it continuously got a little better every run. I mean, I left a lot on the table in the semis. After I got back and looked at my run, I was like, oh, crap, I could have went a lot faster than that. So I went up there pretty armed up, and then he told me what the temperature was, and I pulled my panties in a little bit, but it still went 96, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, I think I probably could have went 93 or 4, to tell you the truth. I mean, that track was pretty damn good for 100, and hell, it dropped like 6 degrees while we were sitting there. It was crazy. Richard kept going 124, 121, 119, 117. What? I mean, I'm loading clutch on this thing every time he opens his mouth, you know. So it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun. Wasn't as fun for Caps, of course, but hey, he's a world champ. He don't get to win them all.
Exactly.
Yeah, the racing gods, man. The racing gods wanted it this way. Parachutes don't fall out on their own. It's like the racing gods go blink.
That's my numbers thing. You ready to hear my numbers thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go. Every qualifying run I made, I ended up 5th. Okay, which is kind of an anomaly, right? You don't usually end up the same position every run.
Right.
I won the race. I was 5th in points when winning the race. Okay, gets even better. It's my 23rd win. Okay.
Yep.
5/23, 2 days ago, was my anniversary.
Wow.
My wife had that all wrote down when I got back to the trailer. She's like, "Now I'm not superstitious, but this is pretty spooky. Look at all these."
Yeah.
Anniversary. That's Tuesday. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." No, look at the numbers though. Oh, wow, that's really weird. Had the hair on my arm standing up. So you're right.
Yeah.
That's what Vito said. He goes, sometimes just in your day.
Yeah. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what he told me too. Well, happy anniversary a couple of days early.
So I was just telling Clay, I think you were signing on, Tim. I thank you, and I apologize for like breaking into the bubble of concentration you had before first round as you were staring down the racetrack. But what you told me got on the TV show, and hopefully I was able to explain it in like the 12 seconds. But here's what he did, Clay. He was like, I think the track could hold a 93. I think I could run a 95, but I don't think it's going to take that to win. And he just like let it hang out there. And I think you went a 98 or something first round. And to me, that was the rapid fire, how to strategize a victory in a drag race. And then you went on and won the race. Like it was perfect. Like this is what's possible. This is what I can do. But what do I need to do to win this? And you go on and you end up winning the race, which I just thought was amazing.
Well, yeah, appreciate it. We weren't really, and I can't tell you I wasn't concerned about Blake and the Dunn car. So because I was, you know what I mean. But I'm much more concerned about Force because he was dead on what I ran every run, you know. And he's still John. He plunked that sunbuck in there on me at a 20-something light, you know. And here because I'm looking for lane choice. I shallow up and I got my standard one flat light shallow. So he's like 3 cars ahead of me until he smokes the tires. But it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's funny how, of course, Tim, you're a little different because you're driver and crew chief at the same time. But, you always make these plans. What he told you, Joe, we all do that. And you're not always the smartest guy after first round, but boy, when it works out and then you just keep doing it, you're a genius, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you say, I didn't want to be in that right lane when it was 125 to 130 degrees. And I mean, Richard looked at it. Him and I, we do a quick routine every run. He walks it, he looks at it, he gets the pull numbers. We go back and we confer about what he thinks it is. And we live and die on what he thinks it is. If he tells me to stage with the right tire and up against the wall, that's what I do. I don't care. He'll come on and go, yeah, it really ain't very good inside. But if you're outside and you drive it back inside, you'll come right to it. I'm like, all right. So that's what we try and do. So sometimes we're in a different spot because every once in a while the guy in front of us will run, and when they get me move that way a little bit, I'll say, is that you want me to run, or you said we're going to run over? No, we'll be a whole tire inside of that. But you can't go inside anymore. Oh, okay. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. And, that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize and don't have to do it as much as I once did at the IHRA tracks. But there are a lot of times you're not anywhere near where the center of the racetrack is. And, you drive the thing where the traction is. It's no different than driving a sprint car. If the traction's good over by the wall, that's where they're going to put us at. And it's mine and Tim's job to get it back where it needs to be after we leave that starting line. It's what we have to do sometimes to not smoke the tires. Yeah,
that's the hardest part, not to say your car's easy to drive, but the hardest part of the funny car too is it's so damn short. Like some of them places, it aggravates me to no end. Richard and I get in the biggest arguments with NHRA about this because they'll drag the thing like the super gas guys are running. They'll run out there about 600 feet and then they'll run a whole tire inside and that's how they drag the rest of it. I stand on the starting line. I'm like, why the hell did they go inside 5 foot? That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And you ask them, like, well, that's where the groove is. No, that's where you're making the groove. Quit making the groove. We have a good time beating them up over that.
Talking about that, and I hate to get in this rabbit hole, but it's a lot of races, especially if you go after super gas, super comp, those sort of things. If you look, the lane will move towards the center line after half track. And it's because, and I'm one of those racers. I did that. It's because they're starting to look at each other.
They wonder, they're looking for a front tire. Yeah.
Yep. They're looking for a front tire, and it moves the groove in for us because they're driving over that way. And a lot of, it's something that don't get talked about, but it's pretty common. You run after the super categories, the grooves moved into the inside.
Oh yeah. And I went even, not to defend my old friend John Force either, but I even went over and told Force that after his Pomona incident. And this as well as I do, the right lane in Pomona sucks. It's got a big ass and you're a tire or a tire and a half inside after half track. There's many times that I've almost done exactly what he did there. So you overdrive your car at Pomona, you're going to end up exactly what happened there. So it's hard.
I heard one of the hardest lanes to drive on the tour. Right lane, Pomona. Would you agree, Tim? No,
it's awful. Yeah, it's awful. And like I say, I tell NHRA every time we're there, quit dragging it to the inside. Drag it to the outside. Give us something for my tire to stick to. Because, you get out there and you get that left tire where and the right one's not. It's ugly.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my complaint today.
That's why we get the big bucks, Tim, for driving.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, look how fancy I'm dressed. I got my tux on. You got your T-shirt on.
I got a race shirt on.
Nice. Well, somebody just bought one of those. Someone just bought one of those from Keelan at the track. The Dentley shirt. So you're doing good. Hey, Tim, Clay's going to the Indy 500 this weekend. He's going to parade around with the Wally in front of all the IndyCar guys. It's going to be his first ever. Have you ever been to the Indy 500?
Oh yeah. Yep. Pum, 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 pum. Pum, pum. That's it. Yep, that was enough for me. So, and not that it's neat because I'm glad my friend Graham Rahal got in. He didn't make it. Somebody crashed and he's driving their car. So, but I like the Indy cars much better on road courses myself. The Indy 500 to me is too damn big. You can't see the other side of it. It's more of a spectacle than it is a race to me because it's hard to pass there. I don't know. That's why I go drag racing, guys.
Yeah, he's a drag racer. Call it the greatest spectacle in racing. Clay's going to have fun, though, because he's like Rick Ware Racing. Clay, did you get to the bottom of it? Tim, I was told that Rick Ware Racing, while they've had success, that they had never won an independent event. And then Clay was like, well, maybe the motocross thing, they won the championship, but maybe they didn't win a race. Did you get to the bottom of that? Jimmo told me that.
Yeah, I haven't. I got to be honest.
Tomorrow.
I was told that it is by far the biggest thing that Rick's ever won all the years of his racing. And it was really cool. On the way home, I'm driving home. Me and Donna were somewhere in Illinois, or is it Illinois? How do you say it, Tim?
Silent.
So Robbie Benton, the president of Rickware Racing, he texts me. He's like, "Hey, can you pull in somewhere? I'm about to call you on, FaceTime." So I pull in a rest area, and we had sent the trophy home. And so they act like they're having a little meeting with me, and someone, Stacy, a lady that we work with, walks up behind Rick with the trophy, and they're showing me they just put this really cool big mural thingy of the Daytona 24-hour car up, and they're saying, you cost us a lot of money because now we're going to pull that down and it's going to be Route 66 Raceway. And I said, Rick, you know what would look really good there? And he's like, yeah, I do know. And I'm like, turn around. Dude, absolutely.
No,
yeah, absolutely speechless. He didn't know what to say. And I mean, it's pretty cool. You can get somebody their first win. We all remember what that's like. I certainly do. It's irreplaceable. The first one is definitely special.
Yeah. Did you? I didn't get to see it, of course, but my wife said the people on the starting line went upside down when we won that race. All them Skag people just flipped.
I saw it. I was
Everybody.
watching, sitting in the water box.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool watching that.
Yeah.
And Tim and I were able to, kind of share the orange car thing. We had the orange car thing going.
Something to that,
Yep.
right? There was something to that. And so you guys did the ride back together. You did the media center, and just great energy from the crowd. But let's look ahead a little bit. All right. So we're heading to, this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. It's a solemn holiday, but we're going to enjoy it because, the people who, sacrifice their lives that we can. That's the reason that we have this holiday. Then we're going to Epping. And what a crazy juxtaposition from this giant mega track where there's like 40,000 people there to a very small, intimate track that holds like maybe, 12,000 or something, where you're sitting right on top of it. Clay, back in your IHRA days, I think you were there a lot.
Won there a lot. I don't know how many times. I'm the world's worst statistician, but we definitely won there a lot of times. And it's a neat place. It certainly has the throwback feel to the early days of drag racing. And I think it's pretty cool. The place is actually owned by local racers. It's like a passed on kind of, when one guy wants to get out, another racer buys in, that sort of thing. It's a fun, neat event to go to. And I have had a lot of success there. And what's better than one Wally at Route 66 is a second one to join it from Epping. I think me and Tim should just go ahead and make that the plan. We just do it again.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I don't know. I don't know if we can con the rest of them into that, Clay, but we can sure try.
But the confidence is there. Like, do you feel like, Tim, that you are learning the parts? Like, Daniel took your stuff from last year, and the kid is just doing a great job. He's out there making comments, by the way. He says that you always say that you can go faster than that. Whatever it is, he says you can go faster. He is out there commenting. But what Chad has been able to do in that funny car, and you've got all new stuff and it's fresh, and Joe Maynard is like, he's got this plan that he wants to give you a chance to win the championship. Have you sorted everything out? And same for you, Clay. Like, do you guys feel like now you're on top of all this new stuff, and that what you're going to tell it to do, it's going to do?
I don't know. My dad used to say, you never brag about your kid or your car. So, so I don't know. It's, Clay knows this as well as I do, that this is a very, very roller coaster sport, very emotional, like you said. And hell, next week we may not look like we know what we're doing at all. But I'm pretty confident that we got a good setup. I had a great car at Vegas, a great car at Charlotte, and after all the rain, I just made a mistake for first round and shook the tires. But we made a lot of runs in the last 25 runs, so I'm pretty confident we'll be able to go down the track. We might not be a Jimmy Proc quite yet, but we're going to be in the middle of it, and we're going to make them earn it if they get up there against us, and hopefully. Same kind of thing could happen. We can get the sun to come out and make the thing a racer's race instead of a tuner's race instead of just a driver's race.
Yep. I agree with that. I feel like Jimmo's definitely got a handle on a little bit of a warmer track. And I mean, like Tim said, he's perfectly right. You think you got the greatest car in the world, and then you show up somewhere else and you can't make the thing leave starting line, but certainly feel more confident than we did headed into the last qualifying run, not in the show, So anytime you can make back-to-back runs like that, we made 5 consecutive runs down the racetrack. That certainly boosts everybody's confidence. And Epping can be really good, but Tim mentions Jimmy Prock. I'll mention Grubby. We don't want to have to go out there in cold conditions and do a slugfest. I don't think we're ready for that yet, but give us a good hot racetrack and we'll get down with any of them.
Well, the Epping's got kind of a dicey starting line to it. Yeah. It's got some slick spots there, especially for a funny car. You guys, you can get it going. You're a little further back, but you're kind of uphill there. There's a lot of anomalies to that place. Although out in the middle, it's pretty dang good usually. We run really good there usually. So I think 2 years ago I had the best car there, and I redlit against Robert Height in the second round of the semis, and he just smoked the tires immediately. I was like, damn it. So anyway, we're trying. To tell you the truth, I was trying not to do that last weekend. I mean, I'm as much as I can. I'm like, I don't care what kind of light I have. I am not going to screw this up this weekend. I need to get more aggressive with that because I wasn't real proud of my starting line antics there. But Tony Pedregon, that gives him something to do though. He got somebody to beat up that way.
There you go. I wasn't going to bring it up, Tim. I wasn't going to rain on the parade. You guys won, but looking at the numbers, I was like, I've seen Tim do better than that.
Yeah, that's what we had some fun with that too because he's got a tendency to pick on Chad and Daniel too, and they sent Cruise Pack in there, and Daniel smarted right off. I was like, oh no, but it was cool. Daniel's like, well, I wonder if Tony thinks we got a good car now.
No filter, filter. Daniel Wilkerson. He gives the best.
No, he gets that from his mother. I'll say that right off the bat.
Cool. All right, listen. I know you guys are super busy, so
I got to tell one Epping story.
Do it.
Okay.
So Tim mentioned the uphill out there before NHRA went there, like leading into the staging lanes and actually up to the water box. It was considerably higher. Mm-hmm. Like we've always run a lot of tug in the clutch, and you don't see people pushing the car I drive and hadn't for years. But the car wouldn't go up the hill. Like it was even more uphill to get in the water box than it is now. So I am watching the Greek, and this was years ago, IHRA days, and he's got like one person with him. It's typical Greek. He just shows up and he races his car, and he lets the clutch out. And I'm literally thinking I need to like jog my way over there and help him get up the hill to get to the water box. I've never seen this done before, and it stuck in my mind, and I'm still impressed by it. The Greek drove the thing up the hill like he was in a tractor truck. Yeah. And I don't know how you do that in a nitro car, but he went, just gave her a little throttle and drove it up the hill. And I'm like, nobody else in the planet could do that but him. But it's one of those things that stuck in my mind, and I just wanted to share that old guys can get it done. And me and Tim are old guys, and we got it done this weekend. And
thank you.
Folks like the Greek, they used to get it done, and we learned from them, and some of them kids are probably out there learning from me and Tim right now.
Tim, do you want to own up to being old like the Greek?
Sure, look at my damn gray hair. You're gonna wonder.
Everything's relative.
I said us. I didn't say. I said me and Tim, both of us.
Hey, yeah, I'm right there with you, Clay.
Yeah, don't bother me.
Clay, how old are you?
Either. I'm 57.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 50. We're all over 50. We're all in the same club. All right. The over 50 club. But hey, Greek was out there this past week 62. And 62. Like, that's it. We're all within a 12-year group. That's nothing. That's nothing. Tim was 12. I was born.
That's not bad. 15 and 30, but when you're 50 and 60, it's a lot worse.
Slow walking to the Greek. But the Greek was awesome. All right. So before I let you go, Tim, I've got Clay. We've got him trapped now. He can't escape. You ever had a question you wanted to ask Clay Millican that you never thought you could ask him? Because now's the time.
No, Clay and I, we live on the same purpose in life that we don't have any bad days. I mean, everybody makes fun of Clay for grinning and smiling all the time like a Cheshire cat, but he's a good dude, and me and him both live this life and love what we do, and we know that we're fortunate to do what we do, not just that we love it, that we have good people around us, and I have a great group of kids that work for me, and they make me look good every weekend, and Clay's the same way. He's been grooming them kids he's got working for him for a while, and he was lucky that Rick come on and took that team on, and I'm lucky to have what I have. We wouldn't have anything without Dick Levi and Levi Ranch Shop, right? I mean, they got us to where we are. Joe and Kathy Maynard come on board with the SCAG group, and we have more budget now than we've ever had. So, I told you this a long time ago that you won't see me out there if I'm not smiling. I'll be done. I can stay home and hang out with my grandkids and have fun. So I don't need to be out there getting abused and getting my head bashed in by my own self. So, cause I take it really serious. It's very important to me to win.
That's a wonderful sentiment. I agree. Clay, I'm going to give you the same opportunity, though. Maybe you have something you want to ask Tim while he's on the spot.
I actually don't have a question, but I kind of mentioned this earlier. There are things, and we're not even going to get into details because it's not important, but there has been a time that Tim Wilkerson came to my defense in a big way, got fired up in such a way that I had never seen that from him. And he did it without me asking or prompting. And I've never forgot that, and I won't forget it.
Well, bless you. I'm my buddy, but I don't know what that is or when it was. We don't need to talk about it like you said, but I'll never forget one day the kids that were working on the car told Daniel, "Boy, your dad's really mad." And Daniel said, "You guys ain't never seen my dad mad." So it was good.
Daniel has.
I'm glad that I was there for you. But problem is, Clay, is I'd be up your ass if it was just the opposite. Believe me, if I thought you did, you wouldn't get defended, because that's my worst. But
I know exactly what you're saying. But at the time, it was it was just one of those things where lots of stuff going around the pit area, and you put an end to it.
Good.
And that's the kind of guy Tim is. He is when it's right, it's right, and when it's wrong, it's wrong. Just like he just said, if I do something wrong, he will come tell me about it.
Yeah.
When I owe him money, he comes tells me about it. He's fixed a lot of stuff for us over the years.
Well, I screw up all the time, so I try not to beat up anybody for screwing up, because, like I say, never brag about your kid or your car.
That's awesome. Gentlemen, thank you both for being so flexible with this. This was, I got the call from NHRA late last night, like, "Hey, we want you to go up to this thing." And I was like, "Okay, I will go." And I went, and you guys were just awesome. And even like on battling traffic, there's no way to get home for the 4:00 time, the second of the times. And you guys were super flexible to do this. And so thank you for that. Like, that means the world. The audience is loving the fact that you guys are together. Everything happens for a reason, right? Like this is not the way it was going to be initially, but seeing you guys like bounce back and forth and talk about the track and what's going to happen ahead, that's great. How about we do it again in the future?
Yep. Sounds good to me. I love talking with Clay. Like you say, him and I we come from the same cloth. You know what I mean? He's a little bit hillbilly than I am, living down there where he lives, but
the truth is the truth. It is what it is. But I mean, this is fun. I don't see no reason why both of these Summit cars. It was a Summit sweep up there this weekend, which was really cool. I talked to Jim Greenleaf today, and he's like, we could do that more often, where I have all three up there. And he's right. That was pretty cool. Dallas and Tim and myself. And I don't know why we couldn't just do this again, Joe, after Epping.
Nice.
I'm all for it.
All right.
Yeah, we can use the money and the points, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Excellent. And we can recap the Indy 500 at the same time.
Yeah, have fun with that, Clay. I'm not beating those guys up, because it's just, to me, it's just not my cup of tea. So
he's a drag racer. He's a hardcore drag racer. So is Clay. Clay's going there because he's the most recent race winner, and it's but he's going to have fun, Tim. He's going to love it.
If you've never been, it's an experience. It is definitely an experience. Man, there's a lot of people. Holy cow.
I was telling Joe, I'm pretty sure that Rick will probably bring that Wally and be parading me around to everybody on the starting grid there before the race starts on Sunday there.
Yeah, they're only 100 miles an hour slower than you. They're not. You ain't.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say, Tim. Like, this guy has been 100 miles per hour faster than those guys will ever go. Like, for the most part.
Yep. We try to stay further away from the wall than an inch, though. don't we, Clay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those got it going on. There ain't no doubt about that.
Oh, unbelievable.
Definitely.
Rules.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you both. I'll let you go. Clay, safe travels. Have fun out there. Lots of texts, lots of tweets. Can't wait to see the YouTube show tomorrow with Jimmo, because we love the guy. And I'll let you know when that interview with him is up, because it's just like genuine honesty. And Wilk, thank you so much for doing such a great job and giving me that nugget of information that carried through for the whole day. Made me look pretty good on the TV show.
I didn't know if I needed to buy 5 lottery tickets or 23. I haven't got that mind yet. But anyway. Hey, love you, Clay. Take care.
Both.
Love y'all too. Thank you.
Later, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Clay, thank you so much. Any final thought, Clay? Did we get it all in there? Message for the fans?
Man, I'm just excited. I'm excited to be on here. It's been fun, and I always enjoy hanging out with WFO Joe, because you just never know what kind of bases we're going to cover. We cover them all most of the time, though.
We did. We do. Like, this was so nice. Everybody's loving it right now. Now they're like, oh, you got to do this every time. I got to get everybody on at the same time. It's not how it works. It's just organic. It's natural. It was fun. And I was so happy for you, Clay. Like, it's great stuff. I'm going to send you those pictures of just the emotions of the end of the race are what's going to stick with me for a long time. And I certainly hope we get to go back.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Joe.
Be good. Say hi to Donna. Later.
See ya.
Bye, Clay. There goes Clay Millican. Wow. How about that, WFO universe? You just never know. When something is all oinga-cocked and messed up, it can turn out to be great and perfect. And those two, like Clay, like, let's just do it today. Like, do you want to do it tomorrow? Do you want to do it later? Like, what do you think? Everything got ruined. But I will tell you the story as to why everything got ruined today, and it turned out to work out. Like, how amazing. How amazing. I'm going to tell you the story about Palm Beach International Raceway in a few seconds. I see people putting comments in the comment section. And we'll get into that. But I do want to tell you about a couple of things that are going on. Like the Bandimere Speedway got mentioned. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School is going to Bandimere July 24th through 26th. You can do licensing. You can do the Dragster Adventure. Call 866-480-7223. Bandimere's going away, guys. It's going away. This is your last chance to race down the racetrack. It's just like a citizen, like a regular person. Like the regular racers are probably going to have more schedule. But for someone who wants to just fly in and do the Dragster Adventure there, man, you should, maybe this is sold out already, right? Because there should be extremely high demand to do the Dragster Adventure at Bandimere on July 24th. Go to frankhawley.com and be sure to tell him that I sent you by name. Like that Castello guy, he was pushing me, and there was thick peer pressure, and I succumbed. Because it's not fun if you don't succumb. Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. The hot sauces and the spice rubs and everything's good. Coffee, roasted fresh per your order. And you order it up. The WFO Radio Blend is something I recommend, and he roasts it up. But they've got the Dr. Congo and the Bang the Blower and so many great things. Call Marvin and tell him you heard it on WFO. And then there's samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. CNC machines, engine block programs. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. So if you're looking for a genuine career and to be involved in motorsports somehow or aerospace, they do a lot of that. Samtech.edu. Folks at Bernie Speed Shop having a great year. Josh Hart was on the other side of that final round. Josh has been doing a great job, and Bernie's always does a great job. If you are looking to do a frame off restoration, they can do it. If you're buying or selling on consignment, they do it. Go to bernies.com to find out more. Folks at Total Seal Piston Rings, we're already working on our next podcast, so be ready for Hidden Horsepower. Updating a lot of the PRI stuff still going out. We're going to drop one of those later today, but it's all about ring seal. It's all about ring seal. No matter what your situation, if you don't seal your cylinders, you're not maximizing your parts and pieces. So go to totalseal.com. And then there's the folks at Phillips Connect, Phillips-Connect.com, smart trailer technology, over the road. If you've got trucks, if you got a fleet of trucks and trailers, this is the ounce of prevention. Like a wheel bearing is heating up and you don't know about it. Think of all the bad things that can happen. You get the sensors, you keep track of these things, and then you don't have to worry about all the negativity that comes with something like that. You can keep track of it. So go to Phillips-Connect.com. Plus our friends at FTI Performance Transmissions, FTIperformance.com. That's Paul Lee's company, located in Florida. Florida Transmission Incorporated, FTI. Dot 90, Pro Mod, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster. They do it all. And of course, the folks at Foggit, Foggit. And I keep my handy dandy can of Foggit right here in the studio in case I need to protect my cylinders. No, it's a prop is what it is. But the other day I found myself needing a rust inhibitor. And so I went for the Foggit and it worked. But they do a contingency program. If you are running divisional points, you definitely need to get on board with Foggit and protect the inside of your engine. Before we get to your comments about Tim and Clay, and I tell you about the Save PBIR story, also our Patreons. These are the VIP listeners, the Backstage Pass. They pay a monthly that they choose. Some people are paying $50 a month. Believe it or not, some people are paying $50 a month. Why would they do that? They're trying to help the show, man, and they can afford it. And so they're trying to help the show. And some people are paying 20, and some people are paying 10, and some people are paying 5, and that's the floor. If you sign on for the year, I'll send you a t-shirt in addition to the stickers and the decals. If you are out of the country, that's a different deal. I can't do that because of customs and all that and, etc. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. All right, let's see what people have to say, and then I'll tell you the story about it. Let's see. Let's get the Patreon thing off of there. AJ, great show today. Wilk and Clay, two of the most popular people in drag racing, period. And they're great guys. And I love hearing them talk. That's why when you get two great racers who are beloved talking to each other, just watch. So I'm just like you guys. Ken out there said, great show. Monica out there says, great show. Two great racers on the show. What is this? Treasure Maze. Ooh, it sounds so interesting. Clay would make a great champion. I hope he does it. So Rick Ware did not get involved in drag racing to just participate. And I want to say thank you to Doug Stringer as well for putting together the team that Rick was able to purchase and then bring to the next level. Without Doug, none of this is happening. And he did a great job. But I've had a couple of conversations with Rick, and the guy's a very interesting character. Now he's got to win. And so the hook is set. I think that they will have what it takes. And Jim Oberhofer, I had planned on playing that interview. It's going to have to be next week just because of all the Save PBIR stuff today. I genuinely ran into the studio to try to get this thing up and start the show at 5:30. Had a nightmare today, honestly, guys. Jeff, great having those two. Brian, great show. Joe, thanks for doing this. No, thank you. And the way you can help is share the show. Just share the show. We get most of our listeners on the podcast. That's number one. The audio only podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcast. That is where the majority of our listeners come from. The podcast still. We turn about a little over 10,000 in 7 days. And last year, there were times it was over 30,000, which it just all depends, right? But these video shows are just easy to do because we got the software, and why not? Why not be live on all these different social medias? So, but when you share it, when you download the mobile app, you help the show and you help get the word out there. And these social media companies, they don't amplify you unless everybody else is doing it. It's an algorithm. And that's why when I say defeat the algorithm, that means share the show. This person loved this. Roscoe, the Yeti, he was out there wearing the costume. Rick says, God bless our troops that have given the ultimate sacrifice for us to enjoy freedom. And this is the end of the week. And let me say something on that. There are a lot of great holidays out there that I love greatly. 4th of July. This one, everybody thinks Memorial Day. It's going to be a great day to go to the beach and, cook a hot dog. And that's not what it is, guys. It's not what it is. Really, and hopefully, and I'm not telling anybody what to do, but spend a little time with the young ones. Explain what it's all about. You think about all those people. They made the ultimate sacrifice. They gave their lives for our country, for the Constitution, for our way of life. They gave their lives. Their lives were lost in service of this. And so when you have your hot dog or you watch your race or you enjoy whatever you're enjoying, make sure it's within the context of that, not just like, hey, day off, woo. And that brings me to the Save PBIR deal. It is my home track. It is the second track that I ever went to in my life. Miami Hollywood Speedway was the first, and Moroso Motorsports Park was the second. And Dick Moroso bought the track in West Palm Beach, and he leased the track in Miami Hollywood. And so in 1992, Miami Hollywood closed down. That's how I got that Christmas tree back there, because I was working there as the track announcer as a 15, 16-year-old kid. You know, like I think I was 17 when it closed, 18, I don't know, 92. Anyway, started a race at Palm Beach, and I loved the track, man. We would go up there to the 5 days. We'd go up to Test and Tunes. It's an hour and 10 minutes away. It's where I had my Super Pro Track Championship and my great runs at the 5 day, and I learned to race and all of these things. But also, once it became PBIR, that's where I had my return to track announcing. Susan Pollock, may she rest in peace, worked for Ford, and she got a gig at PBIR as like a media communications person. And they were putting on a Super Chevy show, maybe. And she was a really nice person. So she reached out to me as someone who had been doing WFO, working at XM, probably working at XM. She's like, hey, you live in South Florida, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm about an hour south. And she's like, hey, would you want to track announce for Super Chevy or whatever the event was? Maybe, I don't know what it was. And I was like, man, I haven't track announced in, 15 years. She's like, oh yeah, but you'll get it. Come on. And I was like, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. So I drove up there and I picked up the microphone and I started drag race announcing for the first time after being talk radio host for, quite a few years. And it was interesting because the racers were super happy because I knew them and I knew my stuff and I was trying to be exciting. And because of that, I got the gig to do the Pro Winter Warm-Up. And we even did some shows during the Pro Winter Warm-Up, some XM stuff for the Pro Winter Warm-Up. And that's where I first got to call nitro cars and the NHRA people as the Pro Winter Warm-Up. Prior to that, I was just, doing interviews on XM and WFO. I think, the dates all kind of blur together at this point. But because of that, the Pro Winter Warm-Up at West Palm Beach, I think Bob Fry was there. And I think that might have been where he told me, hey, I'm going to retire. Are you interested in being considered to be part of the track announcing team? It happened at PBIR, or definitely related to the Pro Winter Warm-Up at PBIR because I got to announce it. And I was a very different announcer back then. It's amazing how you evolve. And I've evolved so much since then. The first time calling nitro cars, I was terrible. And, as you get older, the voice gets a little lower. So I'm finally getting into the tolerant. I was squeaky back then too, which is fine. I am what I am. Thanks to Ron Bennington. Everybody, you can have a squeaky voice and be okay. But the place is special, super special. And the only track within 3 hours. So when they closed it down, I took it a little personal. And so did Madeline Marconi. And you can go back into the archive and see all those interviews and me angry at the local racers for just giving up. Not all of them, some of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. Don't bother. Don't fight City Hall. You can't beat them. You're going to lose. It's going to be terrible. But we did. We fought. And this thing has been going on now for over a year. We've been fighting. And today was the final meeting. The mayor was there. The vice mayor was there. And the entire commission was there. Madeline was there. Her family was there. Everyone was there. And I'll be very honest with you guys. I wasn't going to go. I'm buried in work here at the WFO studios. Like, I've got so many things that I'm just drowning in things. And I wasn't going to go because I felt like I was at the last one with the magistrate. There was a special magistrate that was appointed to hear everybody. And I was there and I listened to the people who own the facility now make their case. And they had traffic flow experts and they had all these different experts. And they're like, and I listened with an open mind because it's democracy, which is the tie back to Memorial Day. America is not just a place with a flag. America is the shining city on a hill because of our democracy. It's not a dictatorship. One person doesn't make the calls. There's a system that starts out at the lowest ground floor level of the local community that you're in and goes all the way up. And there's checks and there's balances and all of these different things are going on. And I really learned a lot. I mean, I knew and I know a lot about civics and government, but to participate in the lowest, most local level was really something special. And I think everybody should really try to do it. It was interesting. And so we got them to stop approval of the site plan change. And then the owners had to come back and work harder to prove their case. And then we went to the special magistrate, and the special magistrate ruled against the racers. And today was the final day. And so I wasn't going to go because I'm buried in work. But the folks at the National Hot Rod Association have been monitoring this for the whole time. And I got a call yesterday and they said, would you go? And I said, yes. Okay. All right. If I'm, if everybody's engaged in on this, I'll go. And so we postponed the show and we pushed everything back. And a letter from Glenn Cromwell, the president of the NHRA, like they sent it to me and I had to read it into the record. Like it's evidence. It's read into the record, like forever. The story of this thing that just happened, there will be documents attached to it. And so we read it into the record that everything possible should be done to preserve this facility because, NHRA believes this because of the mission against illegal street racing and in support of safe racing at proper facilities, which is what every one of us should be trying to promote as opposed to illegal street racing. Illegal street racing is bad stuff. What we just talked about with Clay and Tim, that's good stuff. It's as simple as that. And there will be illegal street racing, and there will be negative storylines, and it will be related to closing the track in one way or another. But the property owners own the property. And in the end, that was the decision. 7-0 against the opinion of the racers, 7-0 for the property owners and their right to do what they want with their property. And that's why I wasn't going to go, because I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I saw the writing on the wall. Like, what if it was my property? What would I do? But here's the good news. And there is good news. And everybody should be excited about this. In conclusion, one of the commissioners mentioned a 128-acre parcel of county-owned land. Now, 128 acres, like how much, what do we need? I don't know, right? What's the number? 128-acre parcel of land that is county-owned that had been already earmarked for an ATV park. Guys, zooming around on ATVs and stuff. No offense to the ATV folks, but the outpouring of support for the track by the racers, by Madeline Marconi and my friend Corey Kramer and this lady Jennifer, who I called her Spicy today. She wore her NHRA shirt because she was not taking no for an answer. She was great. The response from the community, even in defeat, the willingness to show up every time. I think the letter from Glenn Cromwell being read into the record, the mayor and the vice mayor and everybody was there. And I was like, I'm here as a representative of the National Hot Rod Association, the largest motorsport sanctioning body with 400,000 hobby racers that race under our banners. This is what he would like you to know. They talked about a public-private partnership using the 128 acres that is actually closer to Miami than PBIR was by maybe 15 minutes. That was great news. And that got a lot of people excited because these commissioners, they are just like most people. They don't know from racing. They don't know drag racing. They don't know about our culture. They don't know about how positive it is. And we showed them. And the passion and the energy and the emotion that everybody put out there. There was some anger. It got a little hot in there a couple of minutes. Guy got a warning. Next time he was going to get kicked out. But the idea that one of the commissioners, maybe it's, like the people who tried to discourage me to begin with, will probably say they're just lying to get you out of their face. And maybe that's true, but I choose to be positive about it. And so hopefully we can put Palm Beach County together with the folks at the NHRA to shepherd some sort of public-private partnership. Of course, there will be some investment required, but maybe something positive will come out of it. Maybe all this was not for nothing, and you just don't know. That's why you got to fight the fight. That's why I said the other day, you just go and you fight the fight, and you don't think about the results. You make your case for all the right reasons. And what you got in here. It was amazing to see local government work. Democracy. The way it worked. It's not just some guy saying yes or no on his whim. There's a policy. That's why the idea of dictatorship, authoritarianism, yes, because I say, that's not how it should work. Each one of these people were elected by people who made choices. And they all have power. And somebody was like trying to do something that wasn't against the rule, that we can't do that. They switched our time from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. They made the decision. We're going to cut your time from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. We didn't like that. But there was 30 people. Like it seemed reasonable. So I had to cut down the letter. But anyway, what I would say to all you folks out there, and I know how many people have been watching, like this is boring stuff to most people. You're there to see Clay and Tim and, Castello every once in a while. But I would recommend everybody get involved in their local government, in their local community, to find out who their commissioners are and when a meeting is. There was one guy there, guys. This is so awesome. It was very funny. An older gentleman. He was there. We got there at 9. I got there at 9 a.m. I figured I would be out by noon. Nope. At 12 noon, like we're going to take a lunch break. We'll be back at 1:30 and we'll pick it up with item 7, which was us. It's like, all day is going to be here. I was going to go pick up a Pontiac block. I had a whole plan. I get in the truck. I'm in the dually. I'm going to pick up the Pontiac block. I'm driving up there. Thing starts to shimmy like it's got a problem. Tire was like out of round or something, like cords ripped in the tire. So I'm driving, and then on my way home, I've got 8% on my phone, and then it's going to rain, and the thing is driving, and I'm in the rain, and I'm out of phone battery, and I'm trying to get a hold of Clay to cancel the deal. It was just a crazy day. Let's see what everybody's got to say. Jeff says, Bandamere is on 119 acres, I believe. Well, they're tight on space over there. Joe looks very tired, which is understandable. I do not look tired. Get out of here with that, Art. I look fantastic. What are you talking about? Maybe I should switch back to the other camera. That was a little blurrier, more blurry. Good show today. Thanks for standing up for PBIR. I miss that place. Yeah, me too. And it's over. Like, that's the thing. Over. Done. Got to pursue something new. If you want to track in South Florida, someone's going to have to figure something out. We're going to have to build something. We're going to have to partner with someone. We're going to have to do something. Who, when, where, how, why? I don't know. All kinds of rumbling. We don't have a lot of space down here. But there is not going to be a drag strip south of Orlando and east of Immokalee. And Immokalee's at an airport, which means it's tenuous at best. Tired. But you're right. Great show, says Tracy. Hi, Tracy. How you doing? Rick, thank you for a great show and all you do to support drag racing moving forward. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Joe, for all you do for drag racing. This is not what I really wanted, though, guys. I'm going to start banning positive Joe comments. Matt Clark, our Australian buddy. I'm here to hear you, Joe, period. Hell, thank you, Jim. That's one. That's one. We got Jim Hughes. He's here to hear me. Everybody else is here to hear the racers, which honestly, I'm here to hear the racers. Like hearing Timmy and Clay talk with each other, like that made my day. Just get them going. Some people care because their track isn't set to close. Some people don't care. Well, that's our greatest challenge. I think everybody knows it. Like finding people to spend money on nitro cars and high performance. We're gonna have that. You're gonna have it. National event capable facilities. That is the challenge. And I was very happy, and you should all be very happy too, that the NHRA were monitoring the situation, that were aware that this was the final battle, and cared enough to think about like who's in the area and who can get up there, and we got to be in on this. To me, that's great. What they did with Route 66 Raceway, like Tim mentioned, I don't even know who owns it. It was a Herculean effort to get that thing back. It wasn't just like, yeah, we're open again. It took a lot of convincing. It took a lot of legwork. And it's great to see, like, that's a positive momentum story. So we need more positive stories than we have negative stories. And we're kind of doing that dance. The real estate market is just, through the roof for these kind of things. Big box logistics centers where trucks are coming and going, and junkyards, apparently, like what happened to E-Town, where they can park insurance cars. They love gobbling up the racetracks for that stuff, which is terrible. We gotta fight them. We gotta fight back, and we gotta maybe build new tracks. Like, that's my big thing. There's more billionaires now than there ever before. People with resources. What's next? Let's build some tracks. All right, guys. Thanks, Clay. Thanks, Tim. WFO. Have a great weekend.